We have been in a deep freeze here in Alberta, Canada, and nothing is better on a cold night than having stew. Well, one thing my family likes to have along with our stew is some bread. So today I'm going to show you how to make a no-knead artisan crusty bread. It's so simple that it's something you can do in the morning before you head to work, leave it on the counter and put it in the oven before dinner time, and you have homemade bread straight out of the oven. So let's go do that together. So in a large bowl, what you're going to do is stir together these three ingredients. So first is 3 cups of flour. Next is 2 teaspoons of salt. And then half a teaspoon of yeast. Those are your 3 ingredients. The next thing you're going to add is 1.5 cups of warm water. Now you'll notice that I'm not doing this in a mixer. What you're going to use is just a wooden spoon. And while you do that, you're going to mix it until it becomes shaggy. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. The less mixing possible is what you want until you get it just shaggy. And the less mixing you do, the lighter and airier the dough is going to be, or the bread is going to be when you pull it out of the oven. Okay, all the flour from the bottom and the sides is mixed in. The trick is to not overwork the dough. The less you work it, more soft and fluffy air pockets will form. So the next step is to cover this bowl tightly with your saran wrap or plastic wrap and let it sit. So now I'm going to let this bowl sit at room temperature for 8 to 24 hours. So I'm just going to have the 8-hour mark before it's time to put in the oven for dinner tonight. But if you wanted to, you could make this the night before, leave it on your kitchen counter, and then have it for dinner the next day. Both of those options work and are easy to do with this type of recipe. So after the dough is ready, then you preheat the oven to 450 degrees. Place your Dutch oven uncovered into the preheated oven for 30 minutes. So while your Dutch oven preheats, we're going to get the dough ready. So like I said at the beginning of the video, it requires 8 to 24 hours to rise. Unfortunately, I did not time this correctly, so it's only had 6 hours of rising. But we're gonna go ahead because dinner needs to be ready and we're just gonna roll with it. Catch that pun, roll with it and the dough, anyways. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do is put some flour on your surface and some flours on your hands. Grab the dough out of the container and we're going to make it into a ball. Okay. Now we've got that nicely formed. We're going to put it back in the bowl, cover it up with some saran wrap, and let that loosely cover that now. And we're going to let that rise until we've continued to heat up that Dutch oven for the remaining half an hour. So it's not going to have very much time to rise. It's going to be a little tiny, no-knead, crusty artisan bread, but it will be just fine. There'll be no complaints from my family. They love it when there's homemade bread. So I'll come back to you when it's ready to go in the oven. After the 30 minutes are up, carefully remove the Dutch oven. You can put a piece of parchment under the dough if your Dutch oven isn't enamel coated, or if you're like me and just like to use parchment paper with all of your baking. With floured hands, place the bread dough into that warm Dutch oven. Replace the cover and bake for 30 minutes covered. After those 30 minutes, carefully remove the cover and bake for an additional 15 minutes or more uncovered. In this day and age, I think we as women give ourselves a hard time for not being the type of moms or homemakers that maybe our moms were. And for me to you, what we need to do is get rid of that conception of what we think a mom needs to be and do, and find our own style of being a homemaker or a working mom or a stay-at-home mom, but to give ourselves a break and not be so hard on ourselves. So my mom would make buns for us and we had bread all the time. I don't have time to do that. I work from home, I volunteer. There's lots of things that keep me out of the home that I don't have a chance to do that for my family. So this recipe is something that I've found that helps me to make bread for my family. And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be detailed. It doesn't have to take a lot of work or time. This is make it, set it aside, leave it, let it rise on its own, and then pop it in the oven 8 to 24 hours later. It's something that allows me to give a little bit extra to my family and yet takes off all that pressure of making up the dough and making buns, putting in the oven, letting them rise, and being here at home all the time so that I have those buns ready. Well, this bread makes it easier for me, and anything that I can do that makes it easier but still has similar results is awesome. So moms out there or dads, give yourself a break, find simpler ways to do things so that you can still enjoy a home-cooked meal at home and not have to go to the store or the restaurant, but eat at home as a family, but find simple ways to do that rather than giving yourself work. And don't beat yourself up if you can't do it. It's okay. There's times where I go to Costco and buy a pre-cooked meal because I don't have time that day to do that. And I was at Costco, so that makes it easier for me. Do I beat myself up? No. And the next day I decide to make something home cooked because I happen to be home. So if you can do anything for me today, give yourself a break and don't beat yourself up if you don't do things perfect or you're learning or all those things. From me to you, you can do this. It was a process. I've been doing this for the last 20 years, first being a stay-at-home mom, and now with teenagers and me working part-time. You can do it too. So if you need any help or advice or like some help from me, just put a comment down below. I'd love to have a conversation about ways that we can be easier on ourselves and still be successful moms and homemakers. Carefully remove bread after inspecting to make sure that it's the right amount of golden on top, and enjoy. Now there's a reason why this is called crusty bread. The bottom of the bread is definitely crusty. And one thing we love to do is serve it with just some butter on it. Simple, easy to love, and everyone enjoys it. If you enjoyed this video today, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my new videos that come out each and every week. There's a variety of them that come out because I must be a little bit ADHD, because I can't just do cooking. I need to do other things that I have passion about. So check out the video next week. You'll be surprised as to what it is, as sometimes I'm surprised on what I post each week. So thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next week. So while you're, lights on, just hold it over top. It doesn't matter, don't worry about that. No, I want you to come and get straight down so you can see the dough. Okay.
Just a still picture?
Nope, you're going to record a video of me doing this and try to hold it as still as you can. Okay, whenever you're ready. Love you. Have a great day at work. Okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. It's going to be a little tiny. It's going to be a little tiny. It's going to be a little tiny, no-knead artisan. It's going to be a little tiny, no-knead crusty artisan bread.